Hello and welcome. So, the question of the name has come up, and that was anticipated, but I want to share with you how it started 14 years ago. The search for an email of all things. I needed something professional sounding, and I started looking around, seeing what the names were, seeing what people were using for upstart photo businesses, and I kind of thought about, what am I doing? And photo captured already had kind of come to mind. So I'd started searching for it. I wanted to see if anyone else was using it. And the short answer was no. And so Photo Captured Expressions is the full name, but Photo Captured for ease of email use as well as just online titling is what I ended up using. And with the pleasure of working for local news networks here in Colorado, KKTV, Channel 11, Denver Channel 7, at different times National Geographic, Time Magazine, and even Shutterbug. There are times, and it happens, that my name was forgotten, but in the byline or in the contact info, they remembered to put my email, Photo Captured. And so people were able to reach out to me. Some of the editors were able to reach out and get a hold of me. And it's just something that stuck. So with that in mind, I've had a passion and keeping that name going, sharing quality work, sharing the gear that I use. And while I don't get hung up on the gear, it matters to a point, but really it doesn't. I get to enjoy the wonderful views that I have here in my home state of Colorado and share with you the wonders that I get to see on hiking adventures, traveling, and the gear that I choose is gonna change. There have been times that I tell my wife, hey, the clouds are perfect, the light is great, I'm gonna be back in a little bit, and I make a mad dash out the door, and sometimes I'll just grab my small camera bag. It has the X100F in it with a Ricoh GR, and I have my phone. And I really don't care. There are other times that, sure, I'll put a little more thought and effort into it. I will choose the gear based on what the vision is. If I have an idea, if I have something that I really want to get in a certain way, and I might pick my D7000. It's ancient by today's standard, but it works wonders, and I can make it do what I need it to. I've had work that is currently on permanent display rotation at the Denver Art Museum, and two of those photos actually, one was with a phone, that would have been my S4 from 10 or 12 years ago. Another one came from the Nikon D7000. There's a print that's currently on national display at different airports of the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park here in Colorado. And that one was snapped with my D3000. I mean, that's an entry-level camera, which I still have, but you won't be seeing it in this current lineup. And the image is phenomenal. I mean, it's held to the test of time. There are several individuals, Kansas City, San Francisco, Kalispell, Montana, all of them have that print. It's a 24 by 36, beautifully framed by a local framer and matte worker here. And it just looks good. And it doesn't matter what the gear was because the end result speaks for itself. So this is Photo Captured, Tim Brown, and welcome to the journey. I hope you enjoy some of the gear that I use and get an inspiration to get out there, share what's around you, share your shots, take those photos of family, make the memories. Remember this, when you're looking back at what you've done in life and you're showing those photos to your family, to your friends, to your kids or grandkids, those images evoke feelings and the memories that go with them, and record those. Don't forget to enjoy life, be in the moment, but share that passion and share what you love with those around you. Make your impact on the world, and welcome to my journey. This is Photo Captured, so here we go. So, a popular question that comes up in the film and photography world, especially with modern digital capabilities, is people see a photo and they don't appreciate the photo. The gear is fun, the gear can be exciting, but when it comes down to it, my answer is, I don't care. I really don't. Camera technology and where we are today, pick and choose. Most people are using their phone. I'm recording this on a phone, and you can do incredible work with your phone. So I brought out a few of my favorites, not everything, but to show off what I use. And people say, oh, what are you picking? What am I doing? It really depends. But one of my all-time favorites, so I had a wonderful teacher, Ms. Mary Ann Beal of Beal Photography in Colorado, and she taught me to take technical knowledge and turn it into artwork. So making an image isn't a problem for me. I understand that. I kind of have an eye for what I want to get, what I want to show. But predominantly speaking, I was a technical shooter. I knew the numbers, I knew the values, and she taught me to take that and my eye for seeing things and put the two together. So one of my favorite cameras and absolute workhorses that I enjoy is this 1972 Nikon F2. When I purchased it from her, I actually was originally getting the 80 to 200 millimeter beer can lens. It's the huge monstrosity f4.5, and shortly later I ended up buying the camera from her as well, because I was like, I have the lens, but I want the original camera. And get this, I was using a film lens on a digital camera at the time, and I still do that all the time. I don't care. Autofocus doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's a useful tool, but at the end of the day, I wanted to get great images, and this thing is mechanically perfect. I have done my own work on it. I've maintained it over the years. It is currently loaded with Ilford HP5 Plus, a wonderful 400 speed black and white film. The chemical makeup of it and the way that it behaves when you're developing it in HC110 especially is just incredible. You get a perfect result, and you're going to get to see some of that in a little while here. So Nikon F2. And just because I wanted to modernize, this is a more recent edition that I found in a pawn shop. And get this, $8. But this is the Nikon FE, and another phenomenal camera. This particular one is the FE Model 2, I believe. I don't remember how they do their nomenclature because Nikon is a little weird in that, but fantastic little camera. It is based on a battery, so getting the little mercury cells for it can be a trick. I did since do a modification so it'll run on lithium button cells, and what that does is operate the light meter inside, and it does work really well in auto mode with most films. If I'm going to shoot auto, I tend to pick something in the black and white line rather than color, but you can go however you want. And then let's get to the beast. So this is an ancient camera by current standards. This particular one is well worn, Nikon D7000, and I am forever grateful. My parents got this for me well over a decade ago. It was relatively new at the time, but other models had come out. There was a sale going, and they got me this Nikon D7000. It has been to Germany, Austria, Italy, Switzerland, US, Canada, and Mexico, so I've had this thing with me everywhere. In 2013, I had the opportunity to go on a trip through Canada, the whole southern area from east to west, and basically every photo I took on that trip was with the D7000. I have used the kit lens a lot. This is the 18-105, and it's not perfect, but set it to 5.6 or higher, and you're gonna get a great result. And size to weight, it's not bad. I do use it on a tripod a lot, but I also handhold it down to about 1/8 of a second, so long as I'm on a wider setting, like 18 millimeter there, I can handhold it. Phenomenal camera, still ticking along, and I've had it for over a decade. And I'm not intentionally rough on it, but I don't baby it either. I use what I have. I try to take care of it because I'm not rich. And this one, now this is an eBay find. Very retro looking. It's been out for some time now. This is the X100F from Fuji. Now, they have now the newer one, the X100V or something. I don't know what the numbers are. I buy a camera and I burn it into the ground. okay? Especially with digital, I don't look at it as a resale value. I get a tool that I like, that I can use and have fun with it. And a few years back, I think it was 2019, I was poking around on eBay and I talked with my wife and I said, can I get this? Because it was just the camera, okay? Didn't have any of the extra accoutrements on it. It didn't even come with a battery. No battery, no charging cable, just the camera body. And I found it for right at $100. By the time I paid shipping and taxes and stuff, it came out to $125 for a Fuji X100F. And it has a 35mm equivalent fixed focal length lens, and it just does what I want it to. It's light, it's small, easy to use. I did go ahead and put the JJC lens hood on there. I like the look of it. It also protects the front lens element because I'm known to bump into things. But phenomenal little camera. And you're gonna get to see some prints that came off of that here in a little bit. And then my pocket camera. Now, I have a phone, and I do use the phone. The phone cameras these days are incredible. I've been saying it for 10 years. I did an entire display at a local gallery, printed with photos taken from my phone. So people say, oh, well, you need this many megapixels and you need that quality. Not really. If you know how to do output settings, set your DPI correctly, know the printer you're working with, you're gonna get a pretty good result. I use a Epson large format poster printer a lot of the time for doing 24 by 36. I've even done a 3.5 foot by 6 foot print. Get this, from this camera, Ricoh GR2. Now this one was a gift from a friend, and talk about great gifts. It came to me in non-working order. He had tried to do a software update on it and corrupted the memory. So I managed to reformat the memory of the camera and reset the software on it. I went and reached out to Ricoh. They sent me a software pack for the phone. It was a one-time use. And I plugged the cable in, connected it to my phone, not even a computer, I connected it to my phone, loaded the software onto it, and got it working. Took me about a day and a half. And Ricoh GR2 digital, APS-C sensor, and my favorite film simulation mode is the positive film, which is a built-in feature. It does not work on the raw images, unfortunately. But I don't need a raw image from this camera. It is that good. So I do have the viewfinder on there because for bright days, as good as the LCD is, it does get washed out on occasion. And so the framing is a 28mm and it does what I want it to. It's small, lightweight. This is what I take on a hike. It fits in the front pouch of my backpack. Other days I'm carrying it in my satchel, and it does just what I want it to. It's right up there with the Fuji X100. Size is actually quite similar in a lot of ways. Obviously, the Fuji is a good deal thicker because it has a fixed outset lens versus a retractable. But at the end of the day, I have a camera, I can make an image. If I'm choosing film, I load it with my favorite film and call it good. Get out there, get the shot that I want, and share it. Now, if I don't share it, it's for me. I'm not so much about the end result. I mean, I do care about it. I do like to show them. I enjoy sharing my passion and the views that I get to experience, especially when I'm out hiking, and share that with people that I meet or with friends and family. I like printing out gifts. And so if I have a camera, if I can get the exposure down, make the shot happen, and share it, that's all that matters. And I've done that with my phone, the cameras that I've shown you here, and the key emphasis is to get out there and take the photos. So now let's look at a few that I've taken with these cameras. The only one you're not gonna see on here, well, actually two. You're not gonna see any prints from the FE, and you're not gonna see any prints today from the D7000, just because I didn't use any for this particular setup, but I hope you enjoy. We'll be right back. So the question does come up, what kind of camera do you really need to get a great photograph like this? Let me tell you a little secret. This was really expensive. I mean, I kind of It hurts a little bit to say it because I did that with my phone. S24 Ultra, and no AI features, just skill, pro mode, and yeah, a little help from Lightroom because all the photos can use a little bit of help. But yeah, S24 Ultra. Now, when you get to photos like this, where, I mean, this is huge. This is a 24 by 36 poster size print in a poster frame. And yeah, let's get this. I was hiking, I was traveling light. Get this, S22 Ultra. S22. So this was my old phone. And here I have a massive poster print. I mean, the detail going up through here is incredible. When I printed it and I told them, yep, I'm printing stuff that came off of my phone, they said there's no way. I showed them the EXIF data on this one and they were blown away. It's about what you do with the tool and how you use it. Know how to do your output settings and you'll get stuff like this. Now this one right here, this is one of my favorites, and it's not even a very large print. But this right here, get it, X100F. And let me tell you, the sensor in there, the X-Trans, and the way that it brings out the detail for a great black and white image, phenomenal. And I didn't even print it that large. I just wanted something small, a nice highlight, and a sweet black and white. So this one right here, again, can you tell the difference? I mean, yeah, it's a smaller print. I didn't go huge just because the space that I'm using it in. But if you can make it out, you see the people on there? Little teeny tiny people. And let's avoid that reflection. But we got a person there, that's one, that's two, that's three. And way down over here, we've got four. And that right there, S22 Ultra. Again, it's what you do with the image. Now here I have another one. This is the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park, and I printed it huge, if you can get an idea. This is a 24 by 36, and there's a lot of detail in that. I mean, it's a big print. You can get up close and personal. It's not meant to be looked at like that, but that right there, S24 Ultra. Now, I did cheat a little bit. It has a 200 megapixel setting on the sensor. I cranked that up. I did shoot it in pro mode and, do a little bit of adjustments. I did also cheat. I had mounted on my UAG case a variable ND filter, so that helped me out a little bit. And then a little bit of work in Lightroom because all images can use a little bit of help. But 24 by 36, S24 Ultra. Now here, this is another one I'm proud of. And this one is smaller, but we're looking here at a 16 by 20. Again, nothing fancy, but that right there, X100F, good quality tripod, timer release on the shutter. Little help from Lightroom because there is going to be noise. I'm shooting at 6400 ISO. Came out phenomenal. So right here I got another one. Again, it's not a very large print. I only did an 11 by 14, but that came off of my Ricoh GR2 digital, and it's got an APS-C sensor in it. If I really wanted to, I could have gone and printed that huge, but the space I'm using it in, I wanted something nice and small, just a good pop. And so there you have it, Ricoh GR. Here's another fun one. I wanted something a little different for the space, so I chose a 12 by 18. It's a format that I truly enjoy. It's big, but small enough to use as a pop of color or a pop of action in an otherwise calm space. And get this, S24 Ultra, and that's a screen cap from video. So I was shooting at 60 frames a second at 4K. I froze the frame, I did a screenshot, and then printed this. So there you go. So this right here, 16 by 20, I wanted something with a good pop of color. I planned it out for the room. Obviously I have white walls everywhere here, but I wanted something with reds and blues. And I said, you know what, let's print this out well. That one came off with the Ricoh GR2 digital APS-C sensor, so I could have gotten a lot bigger print, but it's not what I wanted. And the end result right there speaks for itself. It's good. So right here I got another 16 by 20. If you can tell the theme here, I have a certain size and aspect ratio that I really enjoy. So this right here is a 16 by 20 from my S22 Ultra. And I did do a little bit of help in Lightroom. There were some issues going on that had to be corrected. I had some chromatic aberrations, which was an issue that came up on certain lens features of the S22 Ultra, which we're recording this right now on the S24 front-facing camera. But this came out really well. And the license plate was originally legible here on the SUV. So that's a Mercedes G-Wagon. I can speak, I promise. And I ended up actually muddying the license plate myself. When I'm printing an image or it's potentially going to be sold, I just don't want a license plate shown. Personal preference, call it what you will. Preserving someone else's privacy, but license plate not visible because I muddied it out. It was legible, and it's a huge print. You can look at it up close or from across the room, and it's going to look great. So we got another big one here. This is a 16 by 20, and I took that at my favorite local coffee shop. Good bottle of water, beautiful glass, the lighting was just perfection. So Ilford HP5, that would have been the 400 speed, and I shot it at 200, but I developed it at 800. So a little push and pull processing going on there, and the look is phenomenal. The scan that I got off of the flatbed was around 10 megapixels, give or take. It's not so much the scan, it's the technique you use when shooting it, and it came out great. I mean, I can get up close and nutty with the details here, but the grain structure that I have, the detail on the edging, it's sharp, it's crisp, in part, not because of the film, but because I did have a great lens. This is the Nikkor f1.4 50 millimeter. Perfection. Nikon F2. So I show you all that not to say don't buy the good equipment. There are some phenomenal cameras out there. The technology and what we can do with digital now is incredible. But it really does come down to, what is your skill? What are you capable of doing? Can you use the tool that you have on you? And I love good cameras. My Fuji X100, the Nikon F2 with the 50mm 1.4, and just as a spicy extra, I'm going to throw in probably the Ricoh, either the GR2 or my Ricoh AF40. That's a 35mm film camera, and if I have my phone, any combination of those. I mean, the phone I'm pretty much guaranteed I'm going to have with me, and the rest of them is just a matter of, what am I doing on that day? Am I hiking? Do I want to stay lightweight? Or do I want to have like the best gear possible? And when it comes down to it, what's the end result going to be? What's the goal? And as much as I love film, the main thing I do have to say is the cost. Film is a phenomenal medium. People think it's dead. Film is not dead. Buy film, not megapixels, and have fun with it. But if you know what you're doing and the desired end result is something that you're going to be pleased with, just take it out there, get your photo, and get this. If you have the opportunity, print it out. Looking at a photo on your screen, the phone especially, a computer, is not the same as seeing printed work. If you can't tell over my shoulder here, I love artwork. I enjoy pieces that pop. I enjoy showing my own work, but when it comes down to it, I want to enjoy others' work as well. So get it printed, and whether or not you make a fortune, that's a different story. But show it, share it with family and friends. Print out a gift for that family member or that close friend. and let them see what your passion is. Cheers, God bless, and be safe.